This is a corker, this one. Check this one out from the Claim of Right. That the sending of letters to the courts of justice ordaining the judges to stop or desist from determining causes or ordaining them how to proceed in causes depending before them and the changing the nature of the judges' gifts to what into the commissions are contrary to law, right? Well, that's what Jeremy Johnson did. Jeremy Johnson, QC, now Judge Jeremy Johnson, KC. This is what he did. He sent a letter in to the last minute, a representation for Lord Anningfield, though, telling them to desist or determining or ordaining how to proceed, right? Or how not to proceed. In fact, it was telling them, it was discussing about what they can, telling them they can if they want to proceed or whatever. The thing is, with the right to petition, it's illegal to be prosecuted, so it's illegal to be there in the first place. So it's ridiculous that you would be in there. I mean, you've got to make a representation, right? But the main point is that you're not supposed to be in any courts if it's under the jurisdiction of Parliament. Because the whole point in a petition is petitioning, or you can lay a case and ask them to judge the case. When you submit a case to a civil court, you are sending them a matter and, you know, for them to decide on, and the jury through a proceeding, but you're not telling them how to judge it, right? Now, a petition is a case. Now, the thing is, what about your rights? What if they're not upholding your rights? Well, the thing is, if you're in a court and you're exercising rights and you raise the right, you got to make a representation on the right. But the thing is, like, you know, if you're ill or whatever, you claim the right, and they're meant to acknowledge it. It's questionable about complaints. How can you have a complaint? How can you have an operating complaint system about a court if you can't write a complaint about the conduct of the people? But this is the argument with the Judicial Conduct Investigations Office, because they say, no, you can only complain about the conduct of a magistrate or judge, but unless they're doing a misdemeanour. And the misdemeanour is an illegal prosecution. That's a misdemeanour. In the Bill of Rights, illegal prosecutions are a corrupt and illegal practice. So you're actually reporting a crime. So really, if you get prosecuted illegally by a court, well, they're committing an offence, right? That is a crime. It's a corrupt and illegal practice. They've broke the law. So then you've got to report them to Parliament or to the government, right? But you're not telling them how to do their job or not how to do their job, right? And obviously you can submit a case to a court for it to hear through proper process, right? Now, the thing is, if you're petitioning either House of Parliament or the King, that is a case to those authorities. It's between you and them. So it's not really any of the business of the courts, right? Now, if they're prosecuting you illegally, you really would be inclined to tell them, look, you need to stop and desist, right? Well, the thing is that Parliament are supposed to back you up. This is the thing with the Petitions Committee. They're not giving us any support. They're not giving us any casework. They're not giving us any enforcement. We're not getting enforcement through sharing things on the internet, even though they give directions to share it. We're not getting any subpoena summons powers. They're not helping us out getting documents. They just aren't acting like a proper authority. They're just like, you know, you can run petitions on the website, and if you get 10,000 or 100,000 signatures, you know, and also they're making up a lot of the standards as well. I've complained about that office anyway. I've complained about Parliament Petitions Committee. But this, right, So you're not basically to tell the court how to do its job, or to tell the judge how to judge, or even the jury. You can submit a case, and then the case will be processed, and you will appear and give evidence, and so forth, so forth, so forth. Right? But really, isn't Jeremy Johnson KC really? The thing is, right, if the Privileges Committee, right, had the authority over Haddingfield, why did he end up in the court, right? So, really, though, why is Jeremy Johnson, KC or QC, sending an email to Southwark Crown Court at the last minute and telling the judge or the court what they can or can't do, or what they may or may not do in the proceedings, right? Because if the representations on behalf of the House of Lords authorities, there are observations on behalf of the House of Lords authorities, but are they, is Johnson, if the House of Lords are saying, why aren't the Privileges Committee itself, as a judicial body and authority, the committee chair, or the clerk, write into the Southwark Crown Court to say, this matter is under the jurisdiction of the House of Lords. The case is being raised to the House of Lords, or whatever, right? That's very different from a barrister, right, no matter who's appointed him, making a representation, doing what it says here, though. The sending of letters. He sent a letter at the last minute. The sending of letters to courts of justice ordaining the judges to stop or desist from determining causes or ordaining them how to proceeding causes is contrary to law. But that's what Johnson did, though. That's what Johnson did. If Haddingfield... The thing is, from what I've read now, Haddingfield could have been prosecuted, but he couldn't have been put in prison. There's so much with this Johnson issue now. There's so much with it. I've got so many laws. There are so many bits of legislation. There are so many things, and this is all actually, it's not, at this stage, once they've broke the law, though, right? Once the judges... you don't tell the judges how to do their job, but if they break the law, then you report them for an offence. But, I guess, that's what the Judicial Conduct Investigation Office is for, or what they have those committees in Parliament for in the Painted Chamber. This is the point, But the thing is, in all those charters of various different cities around England that had mayor, justices, police, etc., it said that everyone is answerable to the law and every citizen has the right to hold the other persons accountable to the law. That means that, right, you don't write a letter into a judge like Johnson did to tell him what he can and can't do, right, in the proceedings. But once he does do something illegal, then you prosecute him with a prosecutor, like you prosecute the judge or the mayor or the alderman or the recorder or the sheriff. Like if they break the law, then that's an offence. So then, you list a case in the court with an affidavit. You're not telling the court how to do its job. You're bringing a case to the court. Right, the judge broke the law. He's a criminal. Corrupt and illegal practice. Prosecute, right? That's how you do it. That's what you do, right? What Johnson did this. This is written down here. He's sending letters to the courts of justice, ordaining that the judges stop or desist from determining causes. Well, the thing is, if you're in a court, right, and you're being prosecuted illegally, then what you do is you claim a right. Now, you say, I'm claiming this right, and so forth, and set it out, right? Now, if they ignore it, then they're breaking the law, right? That's that's what the Bill of Rights is there for: evil justices and subverting the liberties of the realm. It's an illegal practice. It's one of the illegal practices. It falls under a corrupt and illegal practice because it's a thing that is illegal in law. So you have to then prosecute them. Now, this is the thing. You can't. The judge who sat. This is the whole thing, right? If the judge is sat there presiding over proceedings, he ain't going to prosecute himself, right? So there's no point sending letters to him and arguing him, if he's going to continue. You can say, right, you can claim the right. You say, I have got a right. Okay, I am claiming the right. That's not telling the judge how to do his job or what he can and can't do. What you're doing is you're saying, I am claiming the right. This is the right. Right? You're declaring and claiming the right. Now, if he doesn't acknowledge or apply it, that's his problem because he's broken the law. Right? And he can't, unless the jury could say, maybe the jury could, but, if you claim the right, don't tell the jury how not to do their job, but you can tell the jury that you're claiming a right and you can say what the right is. And then maybe the jury, this is like classic Gregory Perrins and, Ian Bray case material. It's like William Penn. In that case, it would be interesting. That is a plausible situation. If you were like, if we rewind to, Ian Bray with Gregory Perrins, right? Or even this Judge Silas Reed or whatever with Extinction Rebellion. It's possible. I'm starting to think now if the jury is sworn in, they could say, I think in a court case you can find a certain person is not guilty of an offence, but someone else is guilty. There's a matter on trial though. The matter that's been brought on trial, but if someone is making an offence in regards to that matter, doing an illegal action in regards to that thing that's on trial, it definitely is that. It's still like the matter. So, if the matter's about a criminal damage charge, then it's still the facts and circumstances and the matters in front of the court are still that. But if the judge doesn't grant someone their right when they've got the right, and if the jury think that right is valid, I'm not too sure if they could say that the justice is guilty of breaking the law. The jury could say that the judge is guilty, but I don't think the judge is going to or would find himself guilty. I'm not sure whether you could instruct for sure you can claim a right and you can make a statement of how you think that right is, but this is like sending letters to the courts and justices ordaining the justice to stop or desist from making decisions on causes. So I don't. If you claim a right and they're just not going with it, I think you'll have to get it sorted out afterwards. I think that's the point. But then again, this acknowledges that you shouldn't. If you've sent a petition to Parliament, it's for them to decide, and you end up getting prosecuted over something, then surely it's in Parliament's business, and surely wouldn't you appeal to Parliament anyway? This draws into question that Justice of the Peace Act 1997 and the Courts Act 2003, where it says, you can appeal to either houses of Parliament for a resolution, and then it's subject to an annulment, So that really would you can appeal to the Petitions Committee in Parliament for a resolution if that would happen, and really that order would be subject to an annulment. That's kind of where I am now with mine, really, in a way. That's kind of where I am with my issue. It needs to be annulled, but by Parliament. You know? I think the Judicial Conduct Investigations Office used to be in Parliament in the 1640s. It was in the Painted Chamber, but now it's in the Royal Courts of Justice. So I don't know. We're all scratching our heads. I'm certain, if you read this right, Johnson, this is what Johnson did. If you read it right, it's exactly what Johnson did. He sent letters to the court at the last minute, ordaining the justices and judge to stop or desist from determining causes, or ordaining them how to proceed or how not to proceed in causes. So with Hanningfield, that's exactly what he did. You know, it is exactly what he did, and now he's sat with this Assange matter to deal with. But there are plenty other bits of legislation that I've found and pulled out to do with prosecuting peers in between sessions of Parliament and so forth. It turns out they can be prosecuted, but they might not be able to be sent to prison by the normal courts. They might be able to be impeached by Parliament because, like, William Orange was exempting some of them out of that Act of Indemnity, and they were going to the Tower of London. That's different from the courts, though. That's Parliament. They can be prosecuted through the courts in between sessions, but I don't think the courts can send them to prison. But they can be prosecuted to make a determination of they did do something wrong or not. That's what I've found in what I've been looking through in the statutes at the moment. I've collected it all together.